So since we're kind of in a natural segue already, instead of talking about the last animal first, let's talk about the first two animals first. Since we're talking about that, since we're talking about blasters and stuff. So Lindsay and Samantha, you're both blast play. In OPS, you're called the crackheads. And then Rachel is the blast sleep, or in OPS called the douchebag, I guess. And then that's a terrible nickname. But and then Avis is like the sleep consume, which is the mope, right? So um can you just share how you guys personally experience that? I know Samantha and Lindsay, you guys are slightly different too, because like one of you is info, one's energy, but we'll touch on that later as well. So why don't we already just start with Samantha, because Samantha's like, super like, unless Lindsay wants to go first. Like who? Let's go pick one of the crackheads to start. No, okay,
Let Lindsay go first. Let Lindsay. I feel like I've been talking too much.
okay. Damn DEs pointing at each other.
Okay, so let me reconsider my question. So it's just essentially, what is being blast play like?
Yeah, you like maybe share like what you perceive as like the benefit of it, you being blast play, and also like the cons of being blast play,
So I would say that the pro of being blast play is, I think kind of like what Avis was saying, is like you do kind of exude like this, like a facade of confidence, but it's more of the fact that you have a lot of energy on like that TE, like especially. And then NI is always like steering the boat, and it's always like narrowing in, like, so if you have NI that's constantly like narrowing in the information, right, and like zoning in, and then TE is just like locked and loaded, like ready to go and like give that information to the tribe like as a responsibility, then there is something that's very secure about getting that information from someone, I think, with like blast play high. I remember in the past, so I had gone to school for music, and I played with a lot of musicians in my life, and I remember several times throughout like my music journey, people being like, I feel so secure, like when you're either music directing or like one of the other things with like music, because it was just like I had rehearsed everything so many times, and I like in my head a million times, I was so confident in the process. I really saw it from beginning to end, and then I could help my tribe like get to the end, like the end destination, because like that's all my saviors were doing, right? And so I think it has that level of confidence. I think the con to that is that you're going to be oftentimes prioritizing like, is everyone's kind of needs met before you can look at your own. And then that's just kind of a cyclical problem that I think that we'll deal with through life, is like I'm always kind of like looking around there and be like, is everyone good? Because the thing is like, if I want to focus on myself, I don't want to be interrupted. And there's like my hobby sleep, right? So it's like if I want to like be able to focus on me, I don't want to be like, I don't want to have to be derailed because I have that tribe priority of like having to like deal with like another human entity or another thing that's like, whatever. And so I'm always like scanning, like, okay, is all the chaos controlled? Are all the humans like in their place? Does everyone have, a notebook and a thing of goldfish that they can be occupied with, metaphorically speaking? And then like I can like do my thing. Whereas it's like, I'm sure like Avis probably has a lot more freedom with being able to do her thing without feeling that level of priority. So I'm always looking to like the sleep consumes for that kind of, personal autonomy and freedom. So
I think what I noticed about your blast also, Lindsay, like being blast play, is like you don't just give blaster lessons, you'll drag the tribe into the story too, so that people feel connected, which I think is like a superpower, and I think this is a perfect segue for me to go to rate. Oh yeah, go ahead, Lindsay. Yeah, because like you were mentioning Avis, you're mentioning Samantha, like you're pinging the tribe too in between your blast, so it's like there's like that added layer of connectivity. It's not just like a blaster lesson and then no one's being connected, like no one is being pinged, which is the perfect way for us to segue to Rachel, not throwing her under the bus or anything, but kind of. So Rachel, you have the blaster thing happening, but it's blast sleep, right? So there's no, and then you play last, so there's no picking the tribe.
Yeah.
So what's going on there for you? Like, what's the pros and cons, would you say, for your version?
I feel like social interactions are difficult for me. I don't really know how to do them very well. I'm part of that is some of my upbringing stuff too, but I think being play last does not help with that at all. The blast sleep is good for teaching though, and that's my job. I am a private tutor, and I think it is excellent for that. The blast is perfect for the teaching, and then the sleep, I can analyze what the students are doing. Again, as you're saying, in real time kind of thing. It's very good. Dave and Shan mentioned this on my typing video for teaching myself too. Like, I'm very good at using the blast and then the sleep to teach myself things, basically. So that's great, but yeah, the social stuff is less great. And I have consume, it is there, but it's a little bit lower too. So especially when I'm a little bit socially anxious, it's like I can't really take in what the person is saying very well, and then I can't think of anything to ping with them with, so I'm just stuck. either I just sort of been stuck in my own head analyzing it, or I want to go on a little blasty rant of some sort, but they don't usually appreciate that too much. So yeah, pros and cons.
You make it sound so bad, like being this type.
I know, sorry. I think I'm just frustrated with my play last right now. It's something I'm sort of trying to figure out a bit more. I just had that interview with you, right? Partly about being play last, and
Right.
so I think it's on my mind a little bit, but it's not. I mean, I really do like, you know, what Samantha was saying before, kind of the ability to process in real time, I guess, and going back and forth between them. There's a certain amount of balance, I guess, that I appreciate in myself. Yeah. So it's good. I like being my type. I'm just frustrated at the moment with that
Gotcha.
aspect.
So after we finish everyone first animal, we're gonna segue to the last, because this is the perfect segue now, because everyone's talking about their last animal already. I guess it's kind of hard not to like go between them. Let's go with Avis, and then Samantha, we'll keep you in the end because you're eating something, so I don't want you like cause chaos for you. You're like, oh, like spitting the food, you know. Like let's go with Avis. So Avis, your first two animals sleep consume, which is like different from everyone here. Like no one here has like those two combinations. Like literally no one has like those two like as their savior at all. Like maybe Rachel has like the sleep part, I guess. So
She's the only one with consume at all, though.
Yeah.
In
Avis, you're the only one with savior consume.
Yeah.
As an IJ. So
That's wild.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, can you share your experience about like being a sleep consume mope, you know? I mean you're not super mopey though for for your type. So you're kind of you're not the most introverted person, it seems.
No. Yeah. Which is why I was a little bit surprised when I got my type, but I know like in myself that I am mopey. But I think the people around me doesn't think I am, because it's just so easy for me to like, hey, I'm just thinking about Rachel's example scenarios. Like, yeah, when I know I need to cut off the tribe and go to myself, I don't feel obligated to feel like they're okay. I just like, sorry, I'm gone. So, and it's quite easy for me to do that in like any environment at this stage. Before, I might feel a little like there's social etiquette that you have to kind of take care of, but now I'm kind of like, you know what, actually nobody cares, nobody look at you or anything if you go off quietly to a corner, or you just need 10 minutes whatever, or go away. Nobody knows, nobody cares, you know. So if you really need a time for yourself, for example, like I dance in a dance company, and so there is a lot of chaos all the time, and there is a lot of things going on. We got all kind of different energy. So I'm not usually the one like Lindsay to do like a directing role or try to figure out what's going on. So in my sleep consume, it's my default is always about myself. I want to make sure I got my part right. I need to know if I get the choreography right. I need to know I can feel my whole self in it. Like I need to know my part perfectly first before I can connect with the tribe, connect with the group, and be a cohesive group. So when there's people are fighting about count, when people are fighting about what is actually correct movement or something, honestly, I automatically tune out. I just like, you guys deal with it and decide what was the final version first, and then I'll tune in to see, okay, then I'll just adapt that. So it just always sleep first, always myself first, and figure out, because I feel like if I don't even know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna lost in the chaos. And I don't really kind of take care of people to make sure everybody's okay unless that person is in my FI bubble, then I just automatically would care about that person. So in a consume state, I feel like I am always receiving people's energy though. It's like not so much the physical stuff. Like so that's why I was really kind of thrown off that I'm an INTJ, because I feel like they're always like this very harsh people always coming in and just like telling people what to do. That's just my stereotypical Miramax type. So, and then couple of my friends are like the typical NITE. So I just always think, no, I'm never that type. They're just awful. But after I processed, when I got my type, I am like that, just in a more inside way, because once I feel like to a point I got the big picture, figure out what's going on, then I get into my play and try. I want to connect with the people. I want to connect with tribe, because the goal is I do want to reach my NI goal of to have a good piece, have a good outcome, achieve efficiency. I do want all that. Like that is still something that's easy for me, even though that might not be my priority or feel obligated to on the TE thing. But I feel like once I get there myself, I do get to the point where I start directing the tribe of like in my way to try to get us to the best outcome. So, but before I get to that, the sleep consume thing is always there. I process myself, and I constantly try to gather more information to test my NI. I constantly try to feel everybody's energy to see what's going on. So it's hard for me to turn into blast mode. So I don't even know. That's why, because you guys feel like what is consume about? I don't even know how to talk about it. Yeah. So maybe asking a question would be easier, because I don't know. That's just something I'm constantly doing. Yeah.
I like how you also said that, you INTJs, you're all harsh, controlling people. Like
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. It's like,
and I'm totally turned out to be one. Like I had a job, that feedback thing, and it was shook me out of like left field. Like once that someone was complaining about me about how I managed a team, I was like, what? in a particular meeting where I felt like I had to control the chaos because it was just not going the where I wanted, after I kind of reflect about it, because I was pre-fixated on one of the solution I want to go with, instead of just like really listen to one of the person that was trying to voice her opinion. I kind of at the state I was kind of shutting her down, because I felt like no, we need to get this going. So normally I'm not like that, but when I get to that frustration state, and then I think for me it's a frustration state when my blast come out, the controlling part comes out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that after we finish the first two animals, because I will definitely ask you about that, because that what you're describing sounds like a demon blast swing. That's why it's like kind of harsh, because everyone else here has savior blast, right? So when they're doing the quote unquote harsh controlling INTJ controlling thing, it's like okay because it's like savior state, so it's not as like aggressive. Yeah. So let's finish it up with Samantha. So Samantha, also blast play like Lindsay. What's your experience with that? Like yours gonna be more aggressive also, because it's like it's double masculine for your play, right?
Yeah. And so just because I wanted to really know what I wanted to say, I wrote it down. So I really want to get things, like, I think blast play really helps me get things done. If I have a vision and I want to see it, like we can definitely see it through. I think the benefit is that I'm not tied to an outcome. A lot of people, like in my profession, will get upset when something doesn't look exactly the way they wanted it to, but I'm never tied to that. So when like stuff comes like my way, I can roll with the punches. And I almost feel like I adopt a similar like or a similar like aspect to Avis. Like I'm like the peaceful one. I'm like, it's all good, like let's keep going, you know. And they're like, okay, you know. So that's something it's just recently happened, and I'm feeling really good about it. But at what cost? Like, I think I serve a master, and my master is people. Like one of the reasons why I'm so like social and like bubbly is because I found that that's what helps me like command respect or command authority within a social group, you know. Because when I'm the social one, I'm in control, which is super ugly to say. There's definitely a lot of ego tied to it, but that's what I've found. It like kind of helps me like be a step up above, like, you know, others, is when I'm extra energetic, I'm all about it, I feel like I'm in control in the group. Even though like before any of this I'm like nervous, but I'm like, it's the thermostat versus thermometer thing. It's always stuck with me. I'm a thermostat, so I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, set the mood. But sometimes I'm not up for it. If I do like 2 or 3 gigs at the same time, by the third one I'm like, don't freaking talk to me, I'm like so done with people, you know. But anyways, at what cost? I can make things happen, but at what cost? I have no boundaries. I have eye twitches. And again, I serve the master, which is people. And just for an example, I built this need in my profession, and I'm like marketing it and like making it happen. It got so big that it almost became too big and too much for me to bear. And that's the second time I do this in my profession, in my professional career, where I built a need, and then I'm like, oh my God, that's too much. I need to I need to head out, and that's terrible. And I really want to be able to be more balanced and in control, so that I don't come in trails of blazing, but I pace myself. So I'm going to step in this new role at my job. I really, really, really want to pace myself and not do the same thing that I've been doing, and like completely burning myself out in like 2 years. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I did notice the difference between Samantha, your blast play, and Lindsay's blast play. Just you guys hearing both you talk and stuff. I think Lindsay has like the front end with the blast, so there's more blasting happening. But then she'll use the play as like a supporting role, kind of like to ping everyone. But for Samantha, it seems like you're using the play more actually, and then which is like, I don't know if everyone felt the same way, but like I felt like you were energizing everyone, like with your like your super play and stuff. And then you'll throw in some blast in between, right? So it's almost seems like the play is even stronger than the blast, which is kind of crazy to think about. Maybe because you have feminine NI also, so you're not as confident. Oh, with your
I just wanted to say quickly
yeah,
a quick comment about that feminine FI when you were commenting about not being tied to a goal, not what was it, not being tied to a outcome or something.
Outcome, yeah.
Yeah, there we go, an outcome. Do you think that might be the feminine FI partly too? Like you're just able to, yeah.
I do. I hate my feminine FI. Last time that I did this interview, Kendrick recommended 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and I read it. Kendrick, I never told you this, but I did read it. And yeah, it my FI, that's one thing that I will say is good about me. Like I can roll with the punches. Anything that kind of comes my way, like I make the most out of it. But you know, no boundaries, no control over, you know, I don't even want to talk about it. See that?
I like my feminine, and I mean, I could probably be more masculine on it. It would help me be a bit more, yeah, steady or something. But I like that I'm able to kind of roll with the outcomes a bit better.
Yeah, I think that's a benefit for you guys, the INTJ, like being able to roll with the punches.